Hello everyone, welcome back to the annual Woodward Dream Cruise here in, Royal Oak, Pontiac, and Ferndale, Michigan. It's a massive event full of a lot of iconic American cars and a few oddballs that stuck out. But in the meantime, we're going to start out with the Japanese, historically the least represented automotive group. And it makes sense, this is celebrating Motown, and the JDM market was sort of the antithesis of the Motown industry as the oil crisis gripped. But there were still a few interesting cars like the Honda N600 little micro car and the FJ Cruiser and the Supras. So, still a good selection, but nowhere near as prevalent as others. I mean, even the Swedes probably had as much, with both the V70 over there and the S70, and an actual Amazon. I love the look of the Amazon. It's a fantastic looking car. The British were a little bit more well equipped. Still not as much as others, but we had the MGB, we had the BMC Minis, multiple types, both the Rover Mini and the Austin Sprite, I think is the actual official name of the Mini there. And there were quite a few roadsters. Even though there was a high chance of rain in the afternoon, it was still sunny for most of the day, which means we got to see the Sunbeams and the E-Type Jag V12s and a Crosley Hot Shot. I didn't know what that was. I had to Google it. But there you go. And there were a few track cars, like the Caterham and a TVR. Yeah, TVRs are awesome. Not represented enough. That's the second TVR I've ever seen for the Chimera. But the Grantara Mark III, excellent vehicle. We're now on to the Germans. And similar vein to the British, not a whole lot of variety as you would expect. There were a few Porsches, including the Cayman GT4 and a few 911s. There was a GT2 RS that I sadly did not get a picture of. It was flying down the road. But the 930 convertible and a 997 Martini livery vehicle. Nice touch on the Martini livery for the 911 convertible there. And speaking of 911s, we have a, transparent Volkswagen Beetle and the old school Type 2 bus, followed up by the company that it owns. I thought that was an SSC initially, the Ultimate Aero, but nope, it's a Lamborghini Murcielago. And the far superior Lamborghini Countach LP500S, even if the guy on the right is about to photobomb me in 3, 2, 1. But, still got a good photo of it. But the Italians, again, similar to the Japanese, not really the whole theme of this, despite the 328 and the Portofino and the Countach. But the De Tomaso is a nice segue because it's the Italian style with the V8 power from America, from Ford specifically, the 351 Windsor. Because it's time to talk about the big ones on the block, the Americans. We got a whole host of vehicles, including the GMC Typhoon, the Hummer H1 Alpha Wagon in all of its convertible glory. We have, not to be outdone, the lifted and raised and extended Jeep, and not to be outdone further, the six-row Sandrail. Want to go more old school? I got the Willys Jeepster, not the Jeep, did sort of road-going cousin. But this is all going to be hot rods and muscle cars. I mean, that's the whole appeal of this. Whether it be the Chrysler 300C from 1957, or the Mercury Cougar, or the more obscure vehicles, like the Brooklyn SV1 with the gull-wing doors, or the Oldsmobile Tornado. That might be coming up in a future video eventually. Fantastic car, never seen one of those before, which is weird, but yeah, never seen a Tornado before, but I'm glad I did. And there were a few Ramblers and Javelins and AMXs. I love the look of the Javelin and the AMX. I think they're really underrated muscle cars, which means they're cheap, by the way. But anyway, we're moving on to Shelby next, and Shelby had a really good variety. Not just with the replica 427 Cobras, I doubt any of them were actually real. There may have been one or two, but it's hard to tell at such a distance in the moving car show. And then you got your GT350s or GT500s from 1969, even if Shelby did not have much of an impact on it. Modern day Shelbys from their workshop, we got the GT350R Signature Edition, actually modified by Shelby shop, not just Ford, and the 1300 horsepower Code Red GT500. Yeah, That's a lot of power. These are significantly less powerful. They might have double-digit horsepower, the Model Ts, considering their tires are still white from the old school rubber. But, you know, it is also the first mass production car, so I gotta give it credit where it's due. Ford had a very good turnout, not just in the muscle cars, but in the sailors, like the Edsel, or the more interesting vehicles, like the original Bronco, or as we'll see, a lot of Galaxie 500s. Yeah, there were a lot of homologation vehicles. There was a Fairlane Thunderbolt that I sadly couldn't get a picture of. But, you miss some, you gain some. So for every Thunderbolt we don't see, there was the Galaxie 500s that dominated drag racing and, strangely, the British Touring Car Championship. Completely unrelated, but, successful on the other side of the Atlantic, I guess. Sticking with the American muscle theme, moving into proper peak 60s muscle with the Boss 302 Restro mod, the 1970 Mach 1, and a very tastefully restored 69 Mach 1 with new rims and a new paint job. But as far as I'm aware, everything else looks original. Really good looking vehicle. And yeah, there were a fair few Mustangs. There was a Mustang 2, which I hate. However, it was a funny car, so significantly faster than a normal Mustang 2. More track focus, the SVT Cobra R, the send-off to the Fox body. Only 200 of them were made, only sold to Ford Racing personnel. Fantastic car. Same thing with the Saleen S281 convertible. I've seen the coupe, but I haven't actually seen the convertible in quite a while. There were a few Falcon dragsters. There were actually a lot of dragsters, mainly Chevrolets in the form of the Gassers. Gassers are very popular here at the Woodward Cruise, whether it be the Bel Air or the Chevelle or the Vega estate car. Not my first choice for a dragster, but I'm glad that it exists because I love estate cars like the Shooting Brakes, and I love dragsters. So pairing them together is just perfect. And it wasn't just dragsters, it was Corvettes, it was Impalas, it was normal Bel Airs, including that wagon you saw earlier. And modern cars too, like the Lingenfelter C8 Corvette made an appearance, brand spanking new off the line. And yeah, Camaros were aplenty. I try to take different pictures of different vehicles. So we have the 1979 Camaro Z28 and this really good looking paint job on the 70, maybe 71 Camaro, and the iconic yellow and black stripes on the Chevelle SS 396. Not quite as good as the black and red, but still, black and yellow, can't go wrong. Adore the look of the 69 Pontiac Trans Am, more so than the 70s or even the Firebird. We're going to move on to Dodge next, as we got the Little Red Express, leading into sort of a dragster subcategory, because we also have a Dart, I think it's the GTS, not quite the LO23, but still, and the Coronet 500 convertible. I don't know how rare that is. Sometimes the convertibles are insane millions of dollars, other times they're 30 grand. Either way, we have Chargers aplenty, both the 66, the 69, the replica Charger Daytona made out of scrap metal, which I think is a nice touch and a bit of creativity. Challenger convertible, not the RT, although we do have the modern, I guess old, not quite modern, but 1973. Last generation of good Challenger. And then we have both the E-body cars, being the Challenger RT and the Plymouth Barracuda. Plymouth actually had a really, really good show. They're actually my favorite manufacturer, whether it be the incredible V8 powered estate car, or the various Roadrunners and GTXs, or the Fury State Trooper. I love the look of this thing. It's such a good looking, such a clean car. But yeah, the Superbirds are always going to steal the show. They may not have had a real Daytona Charger, but they had a real Superbird. In fact, they didn't just have one real Superbird. They had two. Yeah, these are easily $250,000, and they look fantastic. They're also massive vehicles, by the way. Super long. But anyway, lovely addition. I love seeing the Cruiser, the Superbirds, the homologation specials. But To finish off with a true bit of speciality, we have the Woodward Cruise specials. Most famously, in my mind, my favorite car of the show, apart from the Superbird, the Upside Down GMC Vandura. Fantastic. I love seeing it. I've seen it every year, even just with little glimpses, and it's my favorite car of the entire show. Although the Superbird is a very nice touch, as I stated. Now, each person will have different experiences because it's over 12 blocks long. It spans 3 cities. So people are going to see different cars. I didn't get photos of cars I wanted to get because I couldn't get my photo out, my picture out in time. But still, for every car that I missed, I got at least 1, maybe 2, that were pretty damn fantastic, despite the threat of rain.